Good morning. President Park Geun-hye sends a video message elaborating on efforts towards a unified Korea on Korea Night, an event on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum. The deadline imposed by Islamist militants for the 2 Japanese hostages draws near. Tokyo believes the deadline is due to expire at 2:50 p.m. local time. Korean pop music has boosted K-pop tourism, and the infrastructure is evolving at a rapid pace. Denny Hong takes a spin around the K-pop tourism hotspots. And Joe McPherson takes us to Pocheon for a look at its local specialties while exploring its tradition, culture, and nature on Korea Today, Friday, January 23rd, 2015.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And a good Friday morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today. I'm Kim Young alongside Kim Min-jung and Jin Ju.
Good morning. A recent survey conducted by a market research firm, Nielsen, shows that 6 out of 10 Koreans think that they're overweight. Now, this is 10 percentage points higher than the global average, and 1 in 2 people in Korea are doing something to maintain or lose weight.
So 60% of Koreans think that they're overweight. Are we part of the statistics here?
I don't think I'm overweight.
Well, maybe you should think you're a little overweight.
No, of course, I do fit in that 60% of the profile. But I don't fit into this profile because while 55% of the respondents said that they are doing something about their weight, 71% of them said that they're actually choosing exercise, and some 57% say that they're cutting down on their food. So that's
right.
Would I actually be a part of that, right? I mean,
well, 7% of them said that they're taking prescribed medicine to lose weight. I don't know if that's a healthy option.
Yeah.
But
it definitely does show a trend in the healthier dieting methods that many Koreans or people around the world are actually turning to. So exercise and eating a little less, that's the way to go. And I should have listened to Mom, right?
Oh, you have this weekend to do some exercise outdoors. Maybe use that opportunity to lose a few pounds there, right? All right, let's now get a check on our headlines. We are going to begin this morning in Davos, Switzerland, where a Korea Night function was held on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum that is underway until Saturday. The event, held on Thursday local time, featured a video message sent by President Park Geun-hye in which she elaborated on Korea's efforts to achieve a unified Korea that would eventually contribute to peace and development in Northeast Asia. She pledged to be patient with the North in trying to engage the communist state in dialogue and cooperation, starting with interaction on civilian levels. President Park sought support for Seoul's inter-Korean trust-building process and the Eurasia initiative that aims to connect Asia to Europe logistically and economically. Some 500 business leaders from 42 countries, including the heads of JP Morgan and Standard Chartered, attended Korea Night, where they were introduced to South and North Korean dishes.
And tighter measures are to be introduced to combat child abuse at child care centers and kindergartens nationwide, including the required installation of surveillance cameras, potentially as early as March. During a policy briefing at the presidential office of Cheongwade on Thursday, the Welfare Ministry announced its plans to install surveillance cameras in 90% of daycare centers across Korea. Both the ruling and opposition parties have agreed in principle on the bill that is expected to be passed during next month's extraordinary session and go into effect with no grace period. Currently, 21% of daycare centers have surveillance cameras. A bill that will strip child caretakers and facilities of their license is exposed, if exposed, even once for a child abuse, is also expected to be put into law next month.
In its effort to curb smoking in the country, the government has slapped cigarettes with heavier taxes this year while enforcing new regulations on smoking zones. Now, with these changes, some smokers are seeking alternative ways to continue on with their habits, while others are trying to step out once and for all. Take a look at this next report.
With a near doubling in the price of cigarettes, more smokers in Korea are looking for alternatives, such as e-cigarettes or imported cigarettes that still have a relatively lower price increase. Overall cigarette sales have fallen by nearly half. But here at this hand-rolling tobacco shop, sales have been on the rise.
With the latest hike in cigarette prices, taxes on all cigarettes have increased. Rolling tobacco is 10 to 20% cheaper than regular cigarettes. So now many retailers are making inquiries about new distribution for the products.
In the last 6 months, more than 10 rolling tobacco shops opened in the greater area of Seoul. Hand-rolled cigarettes allow smokers to choose their own tobacco rolling paper and filter. These roll-ups are becoming increasingly popular among smokers, since individual cigarettes cannot be sold under current laws.
When I lived in the UK, I often smoked rolling tobacco. Back then, a pack of cigarettes would cost about $10 while rolling tobacco would cost $5. Roll-ups can be annoying, but you can choose the type of tobacco, filter, and also adjust the size.
With the beginning of the new year, the government has expanded non-smoking areas. Special smoking zones in coffee shops, where customers were able to enjoy drinks or food while smoking, have been banned, and instead, enclosed booths only for smoking are being put in place.
There are less facilities with smoking zones these days, and the same goes for cafes. So I came here because there's a smoking booth. I don't think that it looks better for people to briefly have a cigarette when they want, instead of everyone sitting in the room smoking together.
Owners of restaurants, cafes, and bars must install a standing smoking booth if they want to accommodate smokers. But many are reluctant due to costs and are instead encouraging customers to step outside.
Nowadays, smoking is prohibited almost everywhere, including in cafes and on main roads, so I have to go find a small alley in the corner to smoke.
Just like this, many smokers find themselves on the streets.
There are a lot of people who wait here or pass by. Since more smokers are out on the streets, I've seen piles of cigarette butts, and it's unpleasant, especially when a lot of students pass by.
In order to combat secondhand smoking on the streets, district offices have been setting up smoking booths.
We've installed smoking booths where there's a lot of foot traffic to reduce trouble between smokers and non-smokers and prevent secondhand smoking. We conducted a survey on 500 people after installing them, and 89% of smokers had a positive response, while 99% of non-smokers said they've experienced less secondhand smoking.
In this booth, air purification and ventilation systems are installed to reduce secondhand smoking. Roughly 2,000 people a day use this booth.
In America, they don't usually have boxes like this, smoking booths like this. I think the smoking area is a really good idea because it keeps the air clearer for the people who don't want to smoke. And since I don't smoke, it's more comfortable for me to not have to smell it all the time.
In light of such changes, more smokers are now vowing to stop out their bad habits.
I want to improve my health, and smoking has become more of an inconvenience. I feel bad for my family as well, so I'm trying to quit this time around.
A survey of nearly 1,500 smokers shows that 91% of them said they would try to give up smoking this year. Of these numbers, 70% said it was because of the hike in cigarette prices. With this, there has been a surge in the number of people visiting anti-smoking clinics. Here, visitors can receive counseling and learn about using supplements to help them quit smoking.
Last year, an average of 15 people visited per day, but starting this year, about 70 people visit the clinic on a daily average.
Following the government's efforts to curb the country's smoking rate and improve public health, the smoking culture has slowly been changing. One of the ongoing challenges is to find ways to protect the rights of smokers and non-smokers alike.
Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. And on every paper this morning is the decision from the nation's highest court on the fate of a former lawmaker from a now defunct leftist party who was charged with sedition. We'll go ahead and take a look at the top story on this issue on 중앙일보. And the headline reads, Supreme Court says lack of evidence on Lee Seok-gi's revolutionary organization different from Constitutional Court. But the top court still did find Lee guilty of instigating an armed rebellion and violating the national security law. If we go ahead and take a look at some more details, upholding verdicts handed down by the Seoul High Court, the Supreme Court confirmed a 9-year prison term, but the court upheld a lower court decision to acquit Lee of conspiracy charges, saying there is not enough evidence to prove the underground group made actual moves to put plans into action. Now, this contradicts the basis for a decision from the Constitutional Court that disbanded a leftist political party that he was a member of last year. And we'll move on to a different issue now on 경향신문 regarding all the fuss about the taxation bills. And this says now is the golden time for a discussion on increased welfare taxation plan. Taking a look at these sub-headlines. Now, the paper explains that with public attention escalating in relation to the recent controversy surrounding changes to the year-end tax settlement system, now is the apt time, as well as the last opportunity for the Park Geun-hye administration to discuss welfare and taxation issues, especially since there will be no general election this year. And the main opposition party in particular pressured the government and the ruling party, saying there must be a withdrawal of tax cuts for the rich and that they must accept discussion on the normalization of corporate taxes. However, Deputy Prime Minister cum Finance Minister Choi Kyung-hwan denied the needs, stressing that it is not an appropriate time to escalate tension over such taxation plans. And switching gears now to the North Korean front, we'll take a look at this headline here, and this one is about their business plans with Russia, and it reads, North Korea pushes for $30 billion project with Russia to improve power grid. Now, at the end of last year, the two countries agreed on modernizing North Korea's railway, and on top of that, they have also decided now to seek a joint business project on improving and repairing the North's power grids. Now, in return for this, it says, the paper says that Russia will receive North Korea's rare earth resources. Finally, for a wrap, we'll take a look at the Korea Economic Daily for this side headline regarding Hyundai Motor. And it says Hyundai Motor to raise year-end dividend by 54% to 3,000 won per share. And looking at the sub-headline, despite weaker profitability last year, Korea's largest carmaker decided to increase its dividend payouts this year in an effort to enhance shareholder value and upgrade its level to global standards. Now, that was a look at our local headlines this Friday, and following are the stock numbers from Thursday.
For those of you who were around the Capitol, it was pretty good yesterday. I think it was a nice day to go out and get some exercise, which is something that I should have started sometime this year when the year turned. Right? All right, but we do understand that there was a bit of snow in the southern regions for yesterday as well.
That's right. For a closer look at today's weather conditions and also a peek into the weekend, we're now joined by our Chun Sung-cho, who joins us outdoors. Good morning to you, Sung-cho.
Good morning.
What a nice place.
Good morning, guys. This is an outdoor swimming pool that they have over here at Dragon Hill Spa. And if you're wondering why I'm here, then stay tuned for that coming up later in the show. But now moving on to the weather. It was a heavy snow day yesterday for the mountainous Gangwon-do province, with up to 20 centimeters of snow piling up. And now all the heavy dark clouds have moved out and pleasant conditions are in store for us all across the country. Today's weather will be mainly driven by a high pressure system approaching from the west. Temperatures have dipped overnight to 3 degrees below freezing here in Seoul, which is a couple of degrees lower than yesterday. But the warmer than average conditions are expected to continue today and all throughout the weekend, so maybe it's a good time for you to plan some outdoor activities for the weekend. And with that, let's take a closer look at today's temperature readings around the nation. Today's afternoon's looking comfortable with highs ranging from 5 to 9 degrees Celsius. This is all for me with the weather forecast, and I'll be back in just a bit for some Jimjaebang time. Back to you guys. Minjang.
A historic turn in the political turmoil boiling in Yemen. Its president, widely supported by the international community, has decided to step down amid pressure from the Houthi rebels who have held the country's capital city for months now. For more on this and other global headlines, we're now joined by our Eunice Kim from the News Center. Good morning.
Good morning, Minjung.
Now, this is an important development because Yemen has been a very important ally in the U.S.-led fight against Islamic extremism.
Right, a key ally, and yes, this has huge implications for Washington, as Yemen is where the influential Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula is based, and there are also reports that the Islamic State is now actively recruiting there as well. Now, it appears the Yemeni government has effectively collapsed, with the prime minister and cabinet having tendered their resignations earlier on Thursday. In his resignation letter, President Hadi said he had reached a deadlock with the Shiite militants who reportedly pressured him to give a televised speech and asked for appointments in his government. Houthi militants also did not pull back from the presidential palace and residence, as had been agreed in the late-night tentative peace deal we told you about yesterday. Now, the Yemeni parliament has yet to accept the president's resignation, but should they do so, national law would place the parliament speaker next in line to be the country's top leader. The current speaker is widely believed to be allied with the Houthis, who are fiercely opposed to the U.S. and believed to be supported by Iran. Now, turning to business news, it has been a long time coming. The European Central Bank has launched their quantitative easing program, but investors are shocked at the sheer size of it. Traders were stunned to learn that the ECB will inject a staggering 1.1 trillion euros, roughly $1.25 trillion US, into financial markets over the next 18 months or so, in a desperate attempt to stop the flagging Eurozone shuddering to a halt. Speaking in Frankfurt on Thursday, ECB President Mario Draghi said the program of quantitative easing worth $68 billion US a month is going to start in March and last until at least next September, or when inflation returns to near its 2% target. Korea's Finance Minister Choi Kyung-won said the plan would stimulate growth in the Eurozone and the world economy at large, adding that Seoul will monitor carefully the risks and market fluctuations that could come from the varied currency policies.
In the meantime, time is running out for the Japanese government as it's racing against the clock to secure the release of 2 of its nationals who are being held by the Islamic State group. And according to the 72-hour deadline given by the terrorists, Tokyo has less than 10 hours left. How does the situation look?
Minjung, difficult is the word Japan's chief cabinet secretary Yoshihide Suga used to describe it. And yes, the Japanese government believes the deadline is due to expire at 2:50 p.m. local time today. Yoshihide Suga said all efforts were being made to save the hostages, but that Tokyo had yet to make contact with the IS militants to confirm their safety. The Islamic State, of course, had demanded a $200 million ransom for the release of freelance journalist Kenji Goto and contractor Haruna Yukawa. The extremist group has previously killed 3 Americans and 2 Britons it featured in similar videos. People are holding their breaths, especially as stories are surfacing about the two, particularly their friendship, about how the journalist Kenji Goto had returned to Syria in late October to try to help his friend Haruna Yukawa, you see there, who had been missing since August. And he apparently had been trying to rebuild his life after undergoing bankruptcy and also losing his wife to cancer, Minjung.
We certainly do hope to hear some good news at the end of today.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Eunice, for that.
You bet.
And stay with us on Korea Today. We'll check out how the K-pop tourism industry is evolving at a rapid pace. Denny Hong will take you around some of the hottest spots that are all about being in the heart of action. More coming up for your itinerary later on in the program, so do stay with us.
Korea's kimchi was featured in the New York Times this week, which described kimchi as a magic ingredient.
Right, titled Cooking with Kimchi. The article encourages readers to experiment and improvise on the traditional recipe and have fun with it. Our Seo Mi-sorang joins us this morning to tell us all about it. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you like kimchi?
Yeah.
Cooking with kimchi.
It's quite an interesting read. It gives good information for those who are not familiar with kimchi, the uninitiated. But it also has a tip or two that even, us Koreans can pick up as well. So let's see. The article starts with an explanation of the central role kimchi plays in Korean cuisine, defining it as Korean soul food. Then there are recipes for some common kimchi-based dishes, such as the hearty traditional kimchi soup or kimchi jjigae, as well as the not-so-common creations, such as kimchi noodle cake and kimchi gazpacho, which is kimchi blended together with tomatoes and cucumbers. And here's a tip that even Koreans can use. Many wines are overwhelmed by the flavoring scent of kimchi, but certain lightly sweet wines work well, such as Dumisek Vouvray and German Spätlese Riesling.
Kimchi noodle cake. I don't know what to make of that.
I thought the tomato kimchi cucumber juice was a bit weird.
I like the kimchi jeon, kimchi pancake with cheese on top of it.
Oh, that would be a great recipe.
And
we should open up a restaurant with that recipe.
Write our own article.
Right.
Meanwhile, over in Gangwon-do province, the annual Mount Taebaek Snow Festival kicks off today, running for the next 10 days. Now, there's a variety of activities that everyone can enjoy, kids all the way to adults, but the highlight of the festival is, of course, the collection of 780 snow sculptures. And the organizers say that the central sculpture is this. It's a replica of Gobukseon, the turtle warship used by the legendary Navy commander Admiral Lee Sun-shin during the Joseon Dynasty. Now, to give you an idea of just how massive this is how tall I would be, standing right next to it.
Is that you?
Yeah, well, standing like this. So this is, how tiny I would be. It's more than 10 meters tall and 30 meters
Wow, that's humongous.
How did they manage to even make that?
Right?
It took about a month of planning and just half a month, so around 20 days to actually make it.
Just amazing.
And there are 79 other equally amazing sculptures, and you can check out more details of the festival at the website below. And wrapping up on the entertainment front, the film Gangnam Blues, or Gangnam 1970, is leading the Korean cinema box office. So let's see what the film is about. Gangnam Blues is a noir action film set in 1970s Seoul when the city's Gangnam-gu district is undergoing rapid real estate development. Actor Lee Min-ho, famous for his roles in TV series hits such as Boys Over Flowers and Heirs, plays the lead opposite Kim Le-won, while Seohyun from K-pop girl group AOA has a supporting role as Lee Min-ho's sister. Gangnam Blues is a third installment of director Yoo-ha's street action film trilogy, following Once Upon a Time in High School and A Dirty Carnival.
And I heard that this movie has made box office history on the day of its release, which was on Wednesday.
Just 2 days ago. So Despite it being an 18 plus, having an 18 plus age restriction, more than 150,000 people went to see it on the opening day, breaking the record previously held by film 아저씨, or The Man from Nowhere, which had a bit over 130,000 viewers on the first day.
Lots of hype surrounding this film. Maybe something to do over the weekend, right?
Perhaps, yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Arirang.
Thank you. And still ahead on Korea Today, we're going to take you to a city not far from Seoul, full of tradition, arts and culture, and nature. Pocheon is where you can get all of this in one package while trying out some tasty dishes and traditional drinks that use local specialties. Joe McPherson will be our guide around Pocheon, so don't go away.
And TGI Friday, everyone, as we kick things off with our 2015 Asian Cup coverage. And of course, on Thursday, the undefeated Korean national football team looked to make it fourth straight, heading into the quarterfinals against Uzbekistan. Of course, going into the game here, scoring problems continue for the Korean national team as they failed to score in the first 90 minutes of the match. But the Korean defense also shuts down Uzbekistan as the match goes into extra time. And there, 13 minutes into the extra time, sensational Son Heung-min heads one in, giving Korea the 1-0 lead before this next play here. Chaduri storming through the right side, unstoppable, before passing it over to Son Heung-min for the double as Korea wins this match 2-0 and advances to the semifinals. Now, many would agree that if there's one major league team that most Koreans love, it's the LA Dodgers. And now reports are coming out that a group of Koreans are planning to purchase a portion of the team. Now, with one of the owners putting up their 20% of the share for sale, a group of Koreans who call themselves Korea Consortium are looking into purchasing that 20%. With NBA legend Magic Johnson and the Guggenheim Group purchasing the Dodgers for $2.15 billion from Frank McCourt back in 2012, 20% of the share will come out to roughly $400 million, an amount the consortium has already made available. Of course, it's not the first time a Korean group has tried to purchase a team. Eland also tried to bid for the team back in 2012. Now, winter training is in full swing in the KBO, with all 10 KBO teams preparing for the 2015 season. But it's not just the players getting ready for the new season. The umpires are also busy with their winter training camp. Now, of course, one of the biggest controversies in the KBO in the past 2 seasons were all the blown calls, and that leading to the introduction of video replays in order to prevent them from happening. And just last year, 40.8% of the calls were reversed after video replay, an alarming percentage. So while the players are training overseas, the umpires are holding their own winter camp in Icheon as they hope to lower the percentage to under 40% in 2015. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
So earlier in the show, we saw Sungcho standing in front of some steaming spa
pool. I think it was a heated pool, so you could enjoy it in the outdoors, even in the cold winter like this, right? But now, Sungcho's going to do something a little bit different, and she's going to jump in the Hanjungbak, which is something really hot. Right?
And in this place, you have to wear that hat made out of the towel, looking like a
lamb or a sheep.
Okay, let's toss over things to Sungcho again, who's at a 찜질방 in Yongsan-gu district. Oh,
looking like a sheep. So what do you know? Back to you.
Hi guys again. So if you're sick and tired of this cold winter weather, stick around with me because I'm going to take you to a room that will steam you up like a rice cooker. This 찜질방, or Korean traditional sauna, is extremely hot inside, but that's how Koreans like it. But of course, if you don't like this hot rooms, you can always go to the cold rooms where they have here to go back and forth, whichever you like. And there are also a ton of other facilities provided here. There's an outdoor swimming pool. that I was just standing by earlier in the show. There's a restaurant in case you go hungry, and there's a beauty salon and a sleeping room and even a small movie theater. It's basically like a mini vacation spot right in the heart of Seoul. And by the way, I may not be your average Korean. I'm not the most patient person when it comes to bearing heat. And today is the day I'm gonna challenge myself. I'm gonna get in there and see how long I can stand inside, bear the heat, really. So I'm gonna start the stopwatch right now to see exactly how long I will stand there. So I'm gonna start the time now and get it. Oh my God, I'm kind of scared and nervous. Ooh, oh my God, I feel the air, ooh, instantly. Oh my God, it's so hot inside. Oh, I feel like I just jumped into a pool of fire, really. And the ground is really hot too. I don't know where to put my feet. And the air, it's so intense and hot and so heavy that it's kind of hard to breathe. It's almost suffocating in a way. I feel like I'm breathing fire. Okay, so here is a thermometer. Can you believe it? It's 54 degrees Celsius. I don't know how I'm gonna stay here, guys, but I will try my best until you guys get back with me later in the show. No worries, I have this bottle of shike, or sweet Korean drink, to keep me hydrated until then. So, back to you guys for now.
I grew up in Kuwait, where the average daytime high is around 50 degrees Celsius. That's weak sauce. Nothing.
Exactly. You know, the longer we keep this K-pop and K-entertainment segment up, the longer she has to be in there. Right?
Maybe she'll be out.
Let's make this really long then. Stretch this out,
Have fun, Denny.
I don't think my problem is stretching things out, it's keeping it more shorter. Right? But this week in K-pop, now when it comes to tourism, it's not a new thing. There's always been a tourism trend where you have people visiting the filming location sites or even the entertainment agencies and just hoping to see a glimpse of their stars. But now the trend is getting towards more of an experience-based tourism, and so something more hands-on to do. And so we're going to be taking a look at some of these hotspots that have been cropping up for the more experience-based tourism. K-pop has swept up crowds all around the world, bringing them to Korea to experience it all. And with a number of fans growing, K-pop tourism is also evolving by the day. The trend of simply walking down K-pop Road, where many large entertainment agencies are located, and getting a look around is long gone. Being at the center of attention, where you can see and experience things for yourself, is becoming the latest travel trend. And here, here are some of the top must-see locations if you are a K-pop music fan. Just last week, SM Town's COEX Artium opened its doors, providing a new space full of K-pop celebrity experiences, as well as a place to pick up all kinds of memorabilia. And unlike other stores, we can buy goods with pictures or logos of your favorite stars. Here, you can buy products they actually wear. It's been dubbed the K-pop playground for fans, so we took a look around.
Oh.
Can you explain to us who wore these sunglasses and maybe where they wore them to?
저희 여기 SM 소속 가수분들이 자주 착용하시는 모델들은 저희가 여기 구비해놓고 판매하고 있는데요.
All right. Actually, that's something that I want to try on. Is it okay if I?
네.
All right, let's see. Now, I'm not sure if these will fit me properly. Not that one. It's just the same design. All right, okay, it's not bad.
Well, I'm sure you put some value on that one because that's the ones that you wore this time.
Exactly.
Looking good.
You can get your hair and makeup done before the process begins. And then over on this side, we actually have a music video studio. Now, it's still being set up, but the fans here can come inside. Follow me. With the help of experts, you can receive training in your vocal skills and dancing, and even record your own album along with the music video. Now, basically getting a taste of what it's like to be a K-pop star through this one-day experience. Spots are limited though, so make sure to look ahead. And this is what a personal album of your own would look like. Other than souvenir stores and the SM studio, SM Colex RTM also has a cafe full of traces of your favorite stars on the 4th floor. For those who want to experience a concert or performance, on the 5th floor, there are hologram K-pop shows offered regularly that manage to recreate the magic on stage, which became a big attraction among fans. With this booming new market on hands-on travel activities, there are also tour packages that specialize in enhancing the K-pop experience. The tours are offered in groups of 10 to 20 people. Together, the groups visit K-pop hotspots, concerts, and live shows on TV. All in all, these fans spend a good week together, making special memories.
Fans love Dream Tour Korea because we give them a K-pop experience that they can't buy. Learning dances from the choreographer of Gangnam Style, meeting K-pop artists, and hanging out with the industry is something that nobody else has ever given.
This is how fans looking for a unique experience are helping reshape the world of Hallyu tourism.
There are more regular and enthusiastic fans of K-pop than there were before, and it has become easier for them to find information on their favorite singers. So K-pop tourism is becoming more diverse and specific to people's needs, with a lot of it being based on different activities.
With more fans seeking out these new experiences in the world of Hallyu, there are also digging up places to add to their list of must-visit spots on their K-pop pilgrimage. One of them would be the salon that Girls' Generation frequents. Hi, 안녕하세요. Now, we've been told that this beauty salon is actually where Girls' Generation gets their hair and makeup done. Is that correct?
네, 맞아요.
When popular here is also getting a hair and makeup makeover from the same stylist who handled top celebrities.
Let me transform you into an idol star.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Well, you're going to need a lot of work.
I know. Hallyu fans here were once happy just to simply use the same cosmetics as their favorite stars, but now they
I don't know
want
how they
something
find
more.
out about here, but they come and ask to be made up really pretty like Girls' Generation.
And while you're waiting, you can also even get updates on what K-pop celebrities are up to.
Their hair's working out.
Some of the Girls' Generation members like to eat while they're waiting, and in the case of Sunny, she's really into knitting these days, so that's all she does. We're all done.
This is good. Very different from normal.
All right.
That's a lot of I don't like the wearing.
It's surprising how much difference hair and makeup can do, though.
Pretty.
Now, this still isn't enough. Some fans even seek out family members of their stars. Now, this place has recently become a must-visit destination, and it's run by the mother of EXO member Chanyeol.
2泊3日です。今日帰ります。飛行機もう食べたらすぐ行かないと間に合わないので食べたらすぐ帰ります。
Did you say hello to Chanyeol's mother? Yeah, so beautiful. 이쁘다.
The EXO seats reserved for when Chanyeol visits with the other group members is always the most popular, and competition for reservations is fierce. From the sheer number of letters and presents filling up the store, you can also tell how many fans show up here with gifts for their K-pop idol stars.
Chanyeol likes Rilakuma a lot, so fans bring a lot of them. Sometimes Chanyeol comes here to eat and picks some of them up to take home with them.
Unlike looking at stars from afar, this gives fans a more intimate and personal experience, so shops run by celebrity families are becoming more popular destinations on the list.
4 minutes.
Also, with more fans flying in from other countries, K-pop lodging facilities have also become popular. There's one spot that has already established itself for accommodating solo travelers.
She didn't choose them because she knows we know them.
Yeah, K-pop kind of connects because you have the same interests in the beginning. So basically, you have something to talk about. Here, you know, oh, do you like K-pop? Yeah, I do. So we can talk about which group or which artist. So it's kind of easy to get into a conversation.
Fans from different countries all get to mingle under the umbrella of K-pop and also make some new friends.
What is that? What was that?
got some moves.
I met a lot of people overseas who are fans of K-pop, so I opened this place because I wanted them to have somewhere to stay and share their interests in K-pop and K-dramas.
K-pop tourism is offering experiences that can give you a better taste of what it's like to be in the heart of it all. So start packing your bags if you want to experience it on the busy streets of Seoul.
So, Denny, when are you making your debut?
It's already long past, if that was going to happen.
But I'm really amazed how these fans, especially those from overseas, figure out where these restaurants or cosmetic shops are.
Indeed, these are not publicized, of course. You know, these are family members of the actual stars, and so they're not publicized to the media. But then everyone's becoming kind of like a Sherlock Holmes. All these fans are doing their research, watching TV shows, and like catching little glimpses of details, and then tracking these locations down. That's actually becoming the new trend, being the person to upload the location of these new spots to visit.
You'd be amazed with some of the information that these blogs, and you can just search it on Google or something, and you can find a lot of information on that. But as for the SM Town RDM building, it attracted a lot of attention this time, right?
It has, and definitely you might want to reserve a lot because it just opened up, and so when it comes to the
reserve.
There's a long line. Even when we went to visit, there was a lot of people there, especially when it comes to the music video studio where you can record your own mini album kind of thing. It's already booked up to February, so you have to reserve that in advance. Also, the daily concerts they have, the holographic concerts, those are always sold out, so you have to reserve those at a time as well too. So just keep that in mind when you are trying to visit that location.
It's a fancy looking building as well.
It's a multiple complex, right? Every single floor has something a little bit special. And YG Entertainment is actually thinking about doing something similar, and they're working on that actually in Ujangbu, which is northern Seoul. So that's going to be similar in concept, but also a holographic program too.
But SM's like in Gangnam, right?
Yeah, it's right in the middle. It's right near Korea. So
Ujangbu versus Gangnam there.
Well, it depends on where you live. So,
thank you so much, Denny.
No problem.
All right, now, has Songcho been able to withstand
It's been about how many minutes? So
the mild 54-degree temperatures? You call that weak sauce? Well, she's been there for about 10 minutes or so. Let's take it back to Songcho and see how she's doing. Songcho,
how are you doing?
Your friend's not doing so hot.
Yeah, if you guys are wondering, I'm doing quite alright, guys. I feel like a monk just meditating in this dome-shaped kiln right now. To be honest, about 5 to 10 minutes after sitting here, there was a moment that I almost gave up and ran out, but I managed to keep myself focused, and I don't know if it'll make sense, but it feels kind of good in a way. Like my body feels more relaxed now, and my muscles all nice and loose, and I think it's the heat that's helping my blood circulation, and it's helping getting rid of my bodily waste. And look at how much I'm sweating, guys. I'm usually not a sweaty person, and to put into perspective, look at him. He's Korea Today's producer, Kang Ho-sun, and he is sweating so much right now. It's like raining down on his face. That's crazy. And yeah, it's gonna help clear out our pores, and I can't wait for my skin to feel so much softer afterward. And then of course, the most fun part of being in Jjimjilbang is doing all the rituals that everybody does when they come to Jjimjilbang. Those of you who watch enough Korean dramas will know it, but what you gotta do is wear your towel on your head like this, and like you guys said before, and then eat jjimgeran right here, or oven-baked eggs. And then you gotta drink shike too, sweet rice drink. Okay, so we're about 13 minutes into being inside here in this Jjimjilbang, and I think it's about time that I end this challenge. Oh my god, the back of my knees are sweating. Oh, it's so suffocating. Oh, I'm gonna go outside. Oh my goodness. It feels so good to be out here, and I'm so proud of myself for staying there for such a long time. I think it's the longest I've been in a Jjimjilbang in my entire life. I don't know if it's too much for a morning show, but my stomach is like sparkling with sweat right now. Okay, I think I'm ready to jump into a cold tub of water, and back to you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed experiencing Jjimjilbang with me this morning. Whew.
Good job. Surviving that. A good 10 minutes in there. Huh?
Oh, did you see the guy next to her?
He was like almost passing out.
My goodness, right? He should have left the Jimjibang, right? All right, she was having some, I guess, baked eggs, but we're going to give you something a lot better than that. Here in the studio, joining us for this segment is Joe McPherson. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Well, today I'm going to take you a little more outdoors than a Jimjibang. We're going to take you to Pocheon, which is right near Seoul, and you can enjoy some gorgeous scenery and some interesting food and drinks. So let's go check it out. Pocheon is just a 2-hour drive from Seoul. It's a town full of tradition, arts, culture, and nature. So more people are coming out here to visit these days. So let me take you on a little adventure around the city. The first place on our list is Pocheon Art Valley, an eco-friendly cultural tourist destination. The slopes are pretty steep, so I would highly recommend taking advantage of the monorail. The view is beautiful with the vast open areas, and it sort of feels like you're at an amusement park. Once you get off the monorail, you'll see the breathtaking view of this lake, which is almost 10,000 square meters. The lake is called Cheonju-ho, and it was created against the backdrop of the granite stone cutting that used to go on here. If you want to get a better view of Cheonju-ho Lake, climb up to the Sky Garden of Hope. The reason it's called a Sky Garden of Hope is that you can write your wish down here and hang it up in the garden. So it's really interesting to see all the hopes and dreams of people who had come here before. Once you've enjoyed your fresh dose of nature, it's time to get your hands on some activities available at Art Valley. One of them that you can't easily experience elsewhere is the pottery program. Until autumn, you get to use the pottery wheel, but in the cold winter, when that's not an option, you can decorate your own cups and let the artist inside you take over. Now that you're done with the art meets nature part of the trip, it's time to enjoy some art meets food. What looks like a blooming flower is the danhobak dunggabichim, so some braised ribs and a sweet pumpkin. You first blend scallions, onions, garlic, and pineapple together, and then boil it with the ribs that have been lightly cooked, along with some Korean herbal ingredients and chili powder. When the marinade has seeped nicely into the ribs, spoon them out onto a baked pumpkin, and this beauty is ready to be served. The juicy ribs, full of rich flavors, and the soft, sweet pumpkin will really get your appetite going. Okay. To finish off is danhobak shike, which is like sweet punch made out of rice and pumpkin. The word Pocheon means to wrap around water. Not surprisingly, the place is famous for its water, and that of course means good drinks. Let's head on over to the Sansawan, where they've taken something old and have made it even better and more sophisticated. With a museum, they teach people the art of traditional Korean liquor making. And surrounded by the beautiful architecture of a traditional Korean hanok home, you get a sense of comfort and serenity. Inside Sansawan, there's an exhibition that helps you understand more about the drinks produced, in a place where you can taste the many different traditional drinks. What stands out the most is sesiju, referring to drinks that you can only get in each season. The winter drink, called dosoju, comes with health benefits because they've added medicinal herbs. Dosoju was usually consumed on the first day of the lunar calendar year to command good health for the coming year. The place called Sewalang, that sits out in the open, is somewhere all visitors at Sansawan stop by. As you would expect from a place that ages traditional drinks, there are some 500 large clay pots. You can walk around the area and enjoy a whiff of spirits in the air. The dish that most people think of when they hear the name Pocheon is Idong galbi. Idong galbi was first created in the neighborhood of Idong here, and it uses small skewers or toothpicks to thread on the ribs and meat from it. But mushrooms are also famous in Pocheon. You'll see them in so many dishes. This is sarangbang iyagi, where you'll get plenty of mushrooms and some makgeolli. Stir-fry spicy green chili peppers and chili oil with some garlic, and then goes in the meat and squid. After that, a huge serving of some mushrooms and flare it up with the sauce to create delicious bulgogi. An added element of fun is that they serve the food on a giant shovel. The second dish is something you can easily make at home to tame your hunger, and that would be dubu kimchi.
Here we go, we got some kimchi jjimm over here with some bulgogi. We have some dubu kimchi over here. Bulgogi of this ojingo. Give me some of this kimchi. It's not as spicy, but it's just, it just hits all the right notes.
It's not so far from Seoul, and it combines a lot of different elements of fun. If you're looking for a special experience with some novel taste, how about you head out over to Pocheon?
Having your food served on a shovel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
And you brought it with you, too. So let's try to bring it in here.
Here we go.
And see. Wow.
Coming on in.
As to how people have to carry this.
It's a lot of food.
Be careful. Be careful so you don't tip it over. That's disastrous.
I would imagine if you're at a table, the person sitting nearest to that end would have to be a little bit careful about
They would, well, actually, after they serve it there's a little pin in there and they take it out and they pull it. And there you go. But what's great about that, it's a really large pan, so you can put a lot of food in that.
Wow.
So, yeah, you get, we see there we have 2 eggs, we got some squid, pork, and of course the mushrooms, which are really big in Pocheon.
So they don't cook it on the shovel, but they cook it and then put it on the shovel
but it is
as
a hot
dish.
pan. It is a hot pan, so be careful.
Idea.
You guys want
So
careful.
what are we waiting for? Let's begin.
Because there's actually rice on the bottom here.
Oh, is there?
Oh, be careful.
I got it.
Exactly what we were afraid of.
This is the hazard that we were talking about, you know? This is
I'll hold the shovel for you. That's a weird sentence. I'll hold the shovel. You can get some food.
You know, but I do understand that. I heard that. I didn't know this is very unsafe. You know what? Let's take the pin out.
I'll do that.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, there you go. That's the perfect way to do it. I do understand that Pocheon is pretty famous for their mushrooms now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. They have been cultivating them since the 1970s, which is around as long as Idong galbi has been popular. So you see a lot of mushroom dishes in Pocheon. You see a lot of mushroom hot pots. And unlike a lot of other places in Korea, they actually add mushrooms to their spicy pork bulgogi, which we have right here.
All right, so let's try some of this. This is actually really good, I think.
It's quite crunchy, this type of mushroom. Not the type of taste I had imagined in my head.
Right, right. Yeah, you know, they try it in so many different dishes there, and it's a good variety of mushrooms that are there, and it's just you just see it in everything. And we also have around here, we have this danhobak.
This is definitely party food, I think.
Yes.
Party dish.
Yes.
I mean, it's really a crowd pleaser. You just open it like this and it looks like a flower.
Right.
I'm sure the kids would just go for it, but then it's spicy.
No, it is spicy. And we've talked quite a few times of all these ways we have of balancing the spiciness, you know, throwing cheese on something. In this case, it is pumpkin, and really, the pumpkin really does help tame the spice a bit. I was really surprised.
You have to give it to Jinju for the true ultimate spicy test.
But if Young can eat it, I think it isn't that spicy. Yeah. So, Joe, these back ribs are used in other cuisines from other countries as well. So could you give us some of the common tips that we can use when cooking back ribs?
Sure.
While I try it.
Sure, go for it. Well, in Korea, mostly you'll see ribs braised. Sometimes you'll see them smoked. Of course, in America, in the U.S., you see them smoked a lot. And in China, they tend to deep fry the ribs. That's really interesting as well. When you're going to buy ribs to cook, look for pink, firm flesh with lots of meat. Because lots of meat means you get lots of meat. And
it's spicy.
It's not that spicy, is it? But
it's sweet and spicy, I think.
It's a lingering spicy. It does linger.
It's what I call
in your mouth a little bit.
It's the Korean spice. It kind of sneaks up on you. You eat a little and you go, oh, this is no problem, and then suddenly,
right, a few seconds later, you're asking for water and lots of tissues.
Right,
got a kick.
When you use Korean spice a lot, you tend to get that effect. There's one chicken place we used to go to that used Korean spices in the wings, and you just eat one of those, and you'd be like, nothing, and then you have to go outside and walk it off.
Or drink milk.
Yes, lots of milk.
Okay, so that is spicy. All right, I do attest to that, right? But the food that you brought here is very traditional, yet it's very simple to make, but a lot of different ingredients are involved, and it comes down to that flavor of kimchi. That's why I like this one over here.
Yes, I agree with that. Kimchi and pork are such a magic combination, but what Pocheon does differently is they add mushrooms to it, so it's something that you don't normally see, but I think it adds a little more depth to the kimchi.
Sounds great.
Right. Thank you
Joe.
so much, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, a big announcement to make. Next week, Korea Today will look a little different.
I'm fired!
A little better, maybe. Just next week, though. Our young Kim is...
First vacation in 3 years.
Exactly.
So I'll be back here next week, but you will be back here, or you guys will be back here
on
Monday morning.
All right, well, thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.
See you then.